Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of This Week in Philadelphia Sports, where, as you might have guessed, we go over everything that's happened this week in the world of Philadelphia sports. Again, if you're new to this channel and you haven't yet subscribed, now is the time to do so. If you could hit that big red button, that would mean the absolute world to me and all of us at PSN. And don't forget, you can get daily content from myself and all of our writers at phillysportsnetwork.com. I mean, it was just another average week in Philadelphia sports. I mean, nothing really happened of note. I can't think of a single noteworthy story. Actually, hey Siri, summarise this week with a song.
Ace of Spades.
No, the copyright. Hey Siri, stop. Hey Siri, stop. Well then, obviously the biggest news this week was probably the biggest news to come out of Philadelphia in quite some time. Quarterback Carson Wentz signs a 4-year contract extension worth $128 million. Around $107 million of that is guaranteed, but we still don't know how the contract is laid out. All we can seem to gather as of right now is that the 4-year extension will tally on to his next 2 years, which means that it's technically a 6-year deal worth $154 million. For those number bonds out there, for the guys that are better at maths than I am, it works out at around a $32 million average. But that doesn't really mean much when, if nothing changes this year or next year, you're paying $22 million next season, which somehow eradicates that. It's hard to make a take on this without knowing the intricate details. How is that guaranteed money laid out? Is it going to be an incentive-based clauses? Is it going to be guaranteed year one? Or is it all backloaded like we've seen with Zach Ertz, Lane Johnson and many others? If you've been watching the channel for quite some time, if you've seen the articles and podcasts and just about everything ever, you'll know my stance on this. This was a move that had to happen this offseason, and without treading old ground, we'll go over those two reasons very, very quickly. Number one is that you look at the quarterback landscape. You've got Jared Goff, you've got Dak Prescott, and of course Deshaun Watson, maybe even Mitchell Trubisky, and of course Patrick Mahomes. All of those guys will be in line to be the next contractees, signees, future $100 million heirs, ballers, however you want to word it. They're the stars of the show. They're gonna get a lot of money. Now, if we look at Carson Wentz's recent history, yes, he's been absolutely incredible, and we can go over those stats in just a second. But if Dak Prescott, who I think we can all agree here is a far less complete quarterback than Carson Wentz, were to get paid first, and let's say, I don't know, $135 million, the price for Carson Wentz, who is a conceivably better quarterback, would then increase dramatically. So just like he did with Fletcher Cox in that offseason when the defensive tackle market just spiked up like a mountain out of nowhere, he signs Carson Wentz before the market has a chance to catch up. And now all of a sudden, all of these contract talks from Dak Prescott and all the rumours swirling around Jerry World and of course the LA Rams have just calmed somewhat, because they now realise that if they want to go all in on their guy, Dak Prescott being the future of the franchise, they're going to have to pay him like one. They're going to have to pay him more, or round about the same sort of margin as Carson Wentz, and that is a terrifying thought for Dallas. Now, of course, the other reason is that this is the only offseason where the Eagles will have any kind of injury-based incentives. This is the only time when, man-to-man, Roseman can look at Carson Wentz and say, hey, you've had 2 season-ending injuries right now. You've played 16 games once. You've missed both playoff runs. We need reliability. So we're going to guarantee you some of this money up front. Because in Wentz's mind, he's thinking, I've had 2 injury-played years. I may not get that guaranteed money if I get injured again. So this is the best chance I'll get. Wentz takes it, everyone's happy. Now, the other side of this, of course, is if Carson Wentz balls out next year, like he most likely will do, given the fact that, again, sorry for any podcast listeners or article readers or just anyone that's familiar with my work, really, but he's going to have a full year with Mike Groves as offensive coordinator, something he didn't have last offseason. Deshaun Jackson, Jordan Howard, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar, and all 5 starters from that 2017 offensive line. That's a slightly dangerous offense, is it not? In fact, if Wentz plays even to half of the standard that we saw in 2017, you're looking at an MVP level campaign. There's no 2 ways around it. I mean, did you know since entering the league, he ranks 3rd in passing touchdowns per game, sitting behind only Andrew Luck, Pat Mahomes. Good company. He ranks 5th in passer rating and is the 3rd quarterback in NFL history to register 2 of 3 first campaigns with 100+ passer rating. pretty good. All in all, I don't think anyone can snuff at the Carson Wentz extension. Are there concerns? Absolutely. Was it a gamble? Yeah, but it's sort of one that you had to take. It's sort of like shooting a shot with a girl in the DMs where things maybe haven't been going so well. But you know, the upside is wifey material. So what's the worst that can happen? You end up in square one, which is listening to REM and thinking, what type of snack do I comfort eat on tonight? The best case scenario, you go on a date, you put a ring on it, and off you go. You get yourself a new franchise called wife for the considerable future. But a lot of people are wondering what this extension means for Malcolm Jenkins, and frankly, we still don't know. We don't know. Now, there is an old saying in the world of everything ever that is, assuming makes an ass out of you and me. My math teacher told me that when I assumed he'd keep me behind after the bell went because I broke a shatterproof ruler. Shatterproof? Not. But if we are to assume that the Malcolm Jenkins holdout is over a bump in money that would see the 10th highest paid safety in the league get the money he deserves and should get moving into the top 5, it's likely going to be guaranteed. Malcolm Jenkins has zero guaranteed dollars of his contract going in towards the next 2 years, which isn't good, especially when you consider some of the deals signed this last off-season or two. You look at guys like Landon Collins, who upwards of 30% of their contract are guaranteed. Jenkins wants that money. He's working out, he's posting videos on Twitter showing how valuable to the team he is. I think it's about guaranteed money. The Eagles had around $24 million worth of cap space before the Carson Wentz extension, and if any of that money whatsoever goes from there to Carson Wentz in this year especially, they may not have enough to give Jenkins the bump he so deserves, and that could be problematic. Mandatory minicamp takes place on June 11th, and if Jenkins doesn't attend, then he is going to get fined upwards of $80,000. But if it gets him $6 or $7 million, I wouldn't complain, really. Sort of like one of those hypotheticals, isn't it? Where it's like, would you let your mate slap you in the face with a fish to win $1 million? Of course I would, yes. So slap me away, and that is what Malcolm Jenkins is doing with a metaphorical fish. Will an extension come? Again, it's probably too soon to say. As soon as the Carson Wentz deal details are revealed, I'm sure we'll get a much clearer idea. Of course, the other big move in the world of the Philadelphia Eagles this week was the loss of Joe Douglas, the former executive vice president of player personnel, after the Houston Texans fired their general manager, which may have just sparked the Jets a slight vested interest in offering Joe Douglas the money he deserved. Now, this is a move the team were ultimately prepared for, I believe. There's no way they couldn't have been. They hired Andrew Berry in the off-season, and that is the name of an executive I would watch moving forward. Are they going to replace Douglas by looking outside? Maybe there are names that interest them, but at the end of the day, they brought in Andrew Berry, who was formerly a man who spent 3 years with the Browns as vice president of player personnel, someone that was handpicked by Bill Polian during his time with the Indianapolis Colts, and has earned glowing praise as someone that foresees the analytical future of football. Played a massive hand in that draft that acquired Baker Mayfield and Denzel Ward, not to mention Nick Chubb. And then in 6 years with the Colts climbing the rungs of the ladder, they won 4 AFC championships and reached a Super Bowl. Not bad. Berry is just 29 years old. He's a very young front office member, something I'm sure Howie Roseman can relate to, and someone that shares that vision and an analytical focus and understands how to build a roster. So it would not surprise me to see him promoted. The main worry here, of course, is who Joe Douglas is going to take with him. And I don't mean Cody Kessler. I mean staff members. There are a couple of guys like Andy Weidel, who followed him from Baltimore, that may well take a promotion and follow him to New York, but only time will tell. As of right now, the Eagles have made a couple of adjustments in the prior weeks to their scouting staff, so maybe we'll see a slight sense of serenity. I think they're preparing for this for quite some time. On another note, that's slightly Eagles related, Captain Cravon LeBlanc, the man that has stolen my heart during the last 12 months and ignored a DM and an email, but that is not the point. Attended a Philadelphia Union game last night. The Union went down 2-0 to the New York Red Bulls, and due to the sheer presence of our captain, our saviour, the man righting this ship through stormy seas, amassing the captain's crew, the Union come back and won 3-2. 3 unanswered goals. They beat New York, all because Captain Cravon was in attendance, and then he gets home from the game and he follows my new Twitter account after my old one that invented the Captain Cravon image, harshly taken from me. So in our conquest for world domination. Captain Cravon is aboard once again, as should you be. Follow me on Twitter down below, at Liam Jenkins PSN. On to the Phillies. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. They're still atop of the NL East, which is fine, and it's been a bit of a rocky few weeks. They call up Adam Hasseley, a highly touted prospect, someone that's going to fill the void after suffering such awful injuries over the last couple of weeks, and then after quite a good debut, he gets injured. Great. I don't know who's taken away their halftime oranges, but the Phillies are seemingly dropping like flies, and it's a little bit worrying. However, they did acquire Jay Bruce from the Seattle Mariners. I almost said Sounders, and that's an MLS team, who in his first 2 starts has 3 home runs and 7 RBIs, which is a little bit #good, isn't it? Now, Phillies fans were understandably a bit annoyed with the Jay Bruce trade, because when he was acquired, he was batting .212, which does sound like a bit of a pop punk band. But little did they realise he was on a tear, batting .294 in his last 10 games with the Mariners, bringing his original record up from .185. That's my matrix numbers head help. He's continued that trend in Philly. He's come in, started hitting dingers, everything's going alright again, and somehow Nick Pivetta wasn't atrocious the other night. He stays the test of time and helps the Phillies beat the Reds 4-1, so that was good. They're playing a game right now. I don't know how. Should we have a look? Should we see how it's going? They play in 4 minutes time. They're playing the Reds again, so we'll see how that goes. My prediction is baseballs will be hit, people will run, fans will cheer, and pitches will be thrown very, very fast to accumulate lots of numbers, and the Phillies will win a game. On to the 76ers, and they hired Ime Udoka, and I'm probably saying that name wrong. It may be I'm Udoka, but that does sound horrific, so I'm hoping it's not. If it is, shot, foot, gone. The former right-hand man of Greg Popovich will come in and assumingly be the right-hand man to Brett Brown in a move which makes a lot of sense. Not just that, of course, he's got to give an extra insight to the Sixers in what is going to be an absolutely crucial offseason, but there is undoubtedly a little bit of tension on Brett Brown now. Whether or not the Sixers retain the likes of Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler, there's an expectation to at least make the playoffs next year, and if they don't, could this be a future head coach in the... I don't know. Either way, the move makes a lot of sense. Udoka has spent countless years under Greg Popovich, maybe trying to learn that soulless beard mentality. Someone that will just stand there, be absolutely like a void of emotion. Imagine Kawhi Leonard on a dinner date. That level. I mean, that's what I aspire to be, if I'm honest with you. Maybe that's why I'm single. And time for a weekly Philadelphia Flyers flyby. Still nothing. However, fear not, if you are a Philadelphia Flyers fan, boy do we have the content for you. Jamie Basco is dropping a mock draft on Monday. We have had articles all throughout the week, all over the weekend. We've got podcasts, articles, videos right here on Philly Sports Network. So the off-season may be quiet, but we have got prospect interviews, we have got breakdowns, previews, and so much more, especially stuff on free agents. So if you're a Flyers fan, phillysportsnetwork.com is your place to go, and I may or may not be biased due to the fact it's my own business. But that is it, guys, for another episode of This Week in Philadelphia Sports. If you're not doing so already, follow my Twitter at Liam Jenkins PSN, at Philadelphia SN. There's a Facebook page as well, that's just Philly Sports Network, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It means the absolute world to me. I still can't believe we're on 10,000 by now, so that is just incredible. From myself, Liam Jenkins, we'll see you next time.